As you may have noticed, I wasn't here Friday. I had some things come up that were unavoidable. But we're back this week, and hopefully we won't have too many interruptions. I had mentioned last week that I would probably not be here this Thursday, but it looks like I'll be able to because the appointment that I had will be in the afternoon. So fingers crossed that won't be an issue. Today we're going to do something a little different. First, I'm going to go about removing this junk out here. I can't do a crate all because there are actually some items inside the house that I don't want to disappear, and as far as I know, the crate all function works for everything, whether it's inside, outside, or where. But I just don't want to risk it. So I'm just gonna go about the slow business of creating each one of these pieces. But the idea for today is I'm going to see about building a bingo hall. I know it sounds like an old person thing. I am an old person, so, well, it's something I used to do with my folks. When I was younger, my mom was really into playing bingo, so. But I'm holding a kind of a guild event for the month of August. Every Saturday we're going to be having, I called it the Summertime Bingo Bash. It's just a progressive bingo game every Saturday evening, and they have a chance to win some plat. And it's just something a little different that we normally, have. We always have lots of RP events going on. I have forum games that we do. We do like screenshot challenges, and of course we do the housing challenge and stuff. But I also try to come up with things that don't require anybody to be anywhere in specific. They don't have to. They're not required to join TeamSpeak or anything. They don't have to be a certain level to have access to a specific part of the game or a specific zone or anything like that. This is strictly going to be in a custom channel that they'll be able to listen in on, be able to see the chat. So if they want to participate in the game, they just join that channel and they can see what's going on. And basically, it's going to be summertime themed. Instead of like 1 through 75 numbers for a typical bingo game, pardon me, it's going to be things like swimming pool and beach and sunscreen. It's going to be summer related words and phrases. And I went through the trouble of setting up a bunch of cards. Basically, I started with a word list. I had like, I don't know, close to 60, 70 words or phrases. And I went to an online bingo card generator, and I just typed in all of those words and then said, here, I want you to generate X number of cards. And then I transfer those cards into a image editor, which is, I use PaintShop Pro 8, and I just modified them slightly. I added numbers to the top corners of each one. That way when people climbed a card, I know whose card is whose. And then I linked them in the little announcement thread in the forum, in the guild forum, and said, here's the cards. I posted it about a week ago to give them plenty of time to claim their cards. So basically I say, here's all the cards, here's how it's going to be played. If you're interested, pick one of the cards below and let me know which one you pick, and I'll put your name next to it. That way everybody knows that that's your card. Because you know, some people have like lucky numbers, or just want to. They like the bit of control of being able to pick the card that they want, and they get to use the same card for all 5 weeks, because the month of August has 5 Saturdays. So every Saturday night they'll be using the same card. So I've asked them to, you know, either print it out several times or use a temporary way of marking it so that they can reuse it each weekend. But like I said, they're not required to come and be on the housing property. They can be queuing for battlegrounds, or you know, who knows what, doing some questing, whatever they want. This is just something just kind of on the side. It'll last for probably about an hour or so. I don't think it'll take that long to call the items or whatever. But you know, I like doing stuff different, but it got me to thinking about what if someone actually wanted to build an actual bingo hall. How would they go about doing that? So that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to take some time to kind of set one up, see if we can make it look like an actual bingo hall. I don't know. There's probably some items that I would probably prefer to have on hand, but again, I'm going to keep it to mostly just things I can grab from the housing vendor. So we'll see how that goes. It may look pretty primitive looking by the time I get done with it. But essentially, the main things we're going to need is, of course, the building structure itself, and it'll probably be kind of like an oblong, not like a trailer house shape, but sort of. I mean, that's what it kind of reminds me of, but it's not going to be like a trailer house. You're going to need a platform, a raised platform where the collar will be. Of course, you'll need the call board and his little board on the bottom where he keeps track of things, because the caller's not going to have to turn around every time to see what's been called or what hasn't been called. So you really have 2 call boards, one for the caller himself and the big one behind him that the players can see. Then you're going to need tables for all of your players. And of course, the caller will need like a microphone and the number basket where all the little balls go in, because we're going to do like a traditional bingo thing for the housing. I guess I could have done this before I went on, but just wanted to hop on before I got sidetracked with something else and missed another day. Oops. Wow, there's so much junk. You never realize how much junk you're putting out until you go to put it away. And it's like, meh. Of course, it's easier if, you know, you don't mind losing a few things, then you can just trade it all and it's pretty easy. Or it would be nice if we had like a click and drag kind of selection tool where you could just select these things here, and that would be quicker. But we don't. So. I think we're coming down to the last few. Voila. Okay. So, whoop, I missed a pole there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this platform out here and just make that the building floor. See how do. Oh. What? I think I'm. This seems too close to the entrance for my taste. Now, I'm going to be, again, kind of paying attention to scale, because normally when I build something, anything, whatever it is, I always pay attention to the size. You know, I could build this like really huge, but then it'll feel very empty, because there's, you know, the things that I put in it are going to be scaled to my size, like the seats and the tables and things. And so I really don't think I'm going to need anything any bigger than that. You know, this even might be a little too big, but we're going to see. So we need some walls, which will be floors, obviously. Now, I'm not putting in too many windows or anything. Bingo halls, at least in my experience, are kind of like casinos. They tend to keep that kind of thing out of the picture because they want you to lose track of time. They want you to kind of just forget about, you know, wow, many hours have passed by, I'm still playing here. It's not as bad. I mean, there are bingo halls that have windows and stuff, but most of the ones that I've went to tend not to, and they don't have a clock or anything in there. Because, you know, you go in expecting to spend, you know, the whole evening there. So let's see. Do I have an arch? No, I do not. I do want an entrance of some kind. Now, to determine the size of the walls, you know, the height, I'm going to use entrance as my main gate. So I think rather than putting a smack dab in the middle, we're going to side. You can put it in the middle. This is just a preference for me for today. I have decided it will be on the side. Now this feels extremely big, and it's like almost triple my size, so I'm gonna scale that down a bit. That feel about? That looks a little better. I can still go through it, and that means any other character should be able to. I'm not going to install a door. I just don't like the way the current available interactable doors behave with the arch. They seem ill-matched, I guess is the best term for it. Okay, so it's going to be kind of like that. Now, I don't want the wall to be exactly just this height. I will probably make it a little bit higher than that, because I think it'll feel like the ceiling is too low if I make it too small. So what I'm going to do is yeah, that worked great. this is 0.7 and that's 0.7, but clearly they're not the same size. Which is should be, but you would think it would be, but apparently not. So bring it up to a regular size. So the trouble is trying to figure out okay. 115 looks about right. Pretty close. If I'm gonna do this, I want to make it look kind of nice and clean and not as sloppy as I did the birthday stuff last week. So if I just bump this straight up, I'm looking to see about how tall. I think that will be all right. And then that means I need quite a few walls to go around. Now I could see about enlarging this one to just fill it up. Could do it that way and just have this one kind of the oddball because it's the one above the door. But the idea is I don't want to go above this line, whatever I do. So let's see if we can put one together. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to size this up and see if I can get it to match pretty good. Maybe 2 point. Not quite. Maybe 2.3. I want it to be pretty flush with the that looks like it'll work. We'll slide that over here. What was that, 2.3? Now let's just... it's not quite. Gonna have to just budget a little bit to get the right height and the width that we need. Thankfully, the floor that I've chosen to do for the walls is a solid color, so it's not going to be lots of different size of patterns. Like if I'd chosen the Cassian floor, I think it is, where it has a lot of different markings. Okay, so now when I do these sides, they're going to be even more different because they don't have this to contend with. We'll see how it goes. Pretty excited about the incoming players that I've been noticing. There's been a lot of increased building activity. When I was doing some of my usual rounds over the weekend, looking at some random houses, I noticed a lot of new names. And I've added quite a few new house listings to my lists. So that's encouraging, and I imagine it's probably just going to get even more and more as we go, because we've got the free-to-play coming. The only side that doesn't seem to be flourishing as much, and as I mentioned last week, it could be that there's just more exile players than there are Dominion. It could be that of those that are playing on Dominion, there's just not as many. You know, when you start talking percentages, as you decrease a certain bit, then from that bit it's even smaller, that a certain amount of players that would be interested in housing. And two, another factor is not everyone leaves their house open to the public. There's a lot of private homes that I'm sure are pretty outstanding, and they just have it strictly for guild use or personal use or RP use, that they just don't want just anybody coming into. So there's always that. But it just feels that, you know, the Dominion side isn't as well represented in the housing parts, because I still have trouble finding synthetic crate in them. That's what I get for talking while I'm doing this. I am not very good at multitasking, apparently. Got a guilty that woke up, apparently. I think I already de-sheeted it down. Yeah. This is going to be a little overlapped because it's not exactly even Steven. Hopefully that won't be good enough. Okay, so that took 5 floors for that. I guess I could just, looks like some of the lines. Something like that. It's not as blatantly multiple lengths there. So what I'll do is I'll just add some more floors. At the one that we stored, and then I need now again, I could use the clone tool. I don't know. I still find the add-on a little awkward. I like the D-shift quite a bit, but I forget about the other functions, so I kind of just resort to what I'm used to doing. I figured this tool will really be helpful to those that aren't set in their old habits like I am. They will find it a lot more handy because they will learn to use it from the get-go as opposed to me trying to remember to use it. That kind of thing. Now I could just copy this one and drag it across like that, but instead I'm going to copy these and push it over. Well, in theory. Let's see, let's copy that one first, then paste. Okay, not gonna want to do it, does it? There we go. Yeah, I'm doing my usual eyeballing to make sure it's kind of lined up here, but you know, if you wanted, you could check the dimension specifically. So this one's at 70.08. Okay, so see, it's like off by a little bit. No, I'm just gonna leave it like that because it looks fine to me. But you can get into the finer details if you want. I know a lot of builders that really get into the math of it, but for me, as long as it looks all right, I'm happy. Anyway, the reason I decided to go copy the sides themselves is because I figured it would be easier to line up this way than the other way to get the divisions in the same place. If that makes sense. Hop on my alt sometime and change the music. Okay, for this end, it's not going to match exactly because again, I don't want any windows or anything. So probably on the 3 floors. And we'll just copy the 2. Put that here. And since I'm not too terribly concerned about the division line here, I'm just going to use this one. And what we'll do is we'll pop it over here to the end. And then we'll put the other one right in the middle. That way it looks a little more even. And we'll leave it kind of on the interior. I'm going to place it and de-shift it, but I'll probably unshift it again to be more centered than these lines. The outside will look a little off. That's the outside. So. Okay, now I will be installing a roof later, but I'm going to leave it open just to make it easier to kind of eyeball things around here. So the first thing I think we'll build is the raised area, the stage, if you want to call it, for the collar. Basically, it needs to be raised, and then there still needs to be enough room up here for the call board. So what we'll do is grab a few posters, and we'll kind of flap the call board up, and just to kind of give us a point of reference. For anyone that's not played bingo, I apologize if a lot of the terms I'm using doesn't make any sense. Basically, when you have the bingo, the game, you have to have a way of keeping track of what numbers are called, what order they're called in, and there's going to be people that either are looking at too many cards and they kind of miss the number that's been called. And so this is a visual tool for them to kind of quickly double check and make sure that their cards are marked properly. And I call it a call board. I don't know if that's the official name, but that's what I call it. Might be a little on the long side, but for a typical call board, there's more than just, usually they have an example of the pattern that you're looking for. They also have the last 1 to 3 numbers called in a little bigger shape, and then they've got the whole listing of the BINGO and then all the numbers that are available for that particular deal, and the ones that they've called are lit up and the other ones that aren't are remain black. So we'll just say that that's our call board for now. So then we need a little raised platform here, and we're going to go ahead and go with the orange floors again. Grabbing a few, I don't know how many I'm going to need. And then, like I said, the caller, he's going to be sitting here, facing the players. So rather than him having to all the time turn around to look at what's on the board, he'll have one right in front of him on his little platform, the smaller version, but it essentially shows the same things. And that's where he controls what's being lit up here as well. Okay, so this will be actually butted right up again. And probably a little wider. just guessing about the height that I need, because when the person's up here, you don't want them blocking the call board. That looks about. Definitely enjoy the D shift button. If nothing else, it's a very handy little tool. But yeah, don't judge the add-on by my unwillingness or inability to use it for anything but that. Really got way more things available. I'm just kind of stubborn, I guess. Okay, and then now it's supposed to be a platform, so we're going to a lot of guilties on. They're waking up. Yeah, I was afraid. Not gonna allow me to sink it in at that size, so almost. .9. I mean, it's gonna take even more pieces just to make it all the way around. And I suspect, I could be wrong, but I suspect the copy paste won't work. No, it did. Ah, yeah. Gonna have to be even smaller. Just trying to save ourselves a lot of time by just making it small. It has to do with the ground below. It only allows a certain depth for certain items. I think it has a lot to do with where they've got the tool set on the item itself. In this case, the floor has the tool set directly in the middle. I don't know if you can see what I'm talking about, but see how it's directly centered in the middle of the object? For some items, if this particular little tool, the node for it, is on one end, I think it gives you more leeway as to how far you can push, because the barrier reads where the tool is marked rather than necessarily the edge of the item itself. I think that's how people can get by with enlarging certain things and then moving them around in a way that it... There's a sheep there. I forgot my little sheepy dudes. And can manipulate in a way to cover up, you know, to build around the portal area. Let me sheepies. That was kind of weird. So, in this instance, it's not allowing me to sink the board in as far as I would like at the size that I have it. But that's okay. I don't have any hard limits that I gotta watch out for. Still got plenty to place, so. And if worst comes to worst, I can go tear down my fish, so no biggie. Let's see if we can play around with the cloning. I don't copy it first or just clone it straight out. I guess the cloning helps that you don't have to do the de-shift a lot. I'm not sure. This looks like it's, yeah. Okay, so it does do the shift still. That's, apparently I pulled the copy over. The thing I'm looking at is how I've got the lines. Some are thicker and some aren't so thick, so I'm just trying to match it up. Let's see, can we get away without copying? Maybe it did it here. Yeah. I guess because I copied this one, that's what. So if I copy it again and then clone, it should pop up here. Yep. Whoops. Kind of handier than constantly going into the thing. It's still a little irritating. It's just because the item I'm using has that stupid D-shift. I mean the shifting issue. I think it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for that, but I'm going to come up a little short here, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this to the edge here. And I'm going to move the gap to more into the center if I can. Again, I'm just eyeballing what the gap looks like. I'm measuring it. We'll just do it like that. Make it kind of like a, I don't know, a special design or something. Whenever I come up with uneven bits like that, I just go with it. It's the same when I was like making a makeshift toilet and stuff like that. I just come up with unusual bits and copy. Here's something like that, just behind it, so that it's solid, but it's not like do the same on this side. I'll just push that in. Now it's a solid front, but it kind of uniformity to it. It doesn't look like I just threw it together, as so many other things that I do. Okay, now the collar board. Work on the collar board. Now I may discover that I need to actually widen this up a bit. We'll deal with that when it comes to it. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 3 more of these. What we got here? And we actually want this to be a little tilted. Maybe 175. Yeah, that looks good. Because, you know, when you're sitting, it's a little bit more handy to have the platform up a little bit. You're not constantly flat. And again, I'm just eyeballing to see if it's kind of in the center. And then what we'll do is get some more orange floors. Grab one. Oh, I didn't mark it. I was standing too close. Now we're going to make the, I don't know, the table control thingy that the collar would be. I don't know what you would call that. Controller board thingy. I guess I could have just, if they were in the same position, but no, I had to go about it a different way because the way I go. Hold this kind of about there. Don't know if this is going to work right because I have it set to the world manipulation. It might twirl it if I move it. Yay, it didn't, so that's good. I'm thinking this is actually going to be too big, too long for one person sitting here. They have to like go all over the place, but I'm going to set it up that way for now. just to kind of mirror what's behind him. Yes, it's smaller, but it might be big. Okay, oops, copy. Ah, that one. Add on instead. Okay, so probably don't have to keep copying this. It probably already remembers that I copied this one, and if I just hit clone, it will be behind it. But just keep doing it anyway. Excuse me. Now, if you notice, it kind of mirrors what's already done underneath. I like. So now I'm gonna test my theory here that it remembers. Yay! I was right. I'll get the hang of it eventually. Oh, it's not far back enough. There we go. The only reason I knew that was because these lines didn't look as dark as the other one. Okay, now the trick is filling up these sides with this odd angle here. And I imagine we'll have to use like the triangle pieces. I'm gonna close that up. Close. There you go. We happen to have a couple of those, so let's see what we can have it cooking week. I just imagined the angle's going to be wrong and not going to work like I wanted, and I'm just going to get frustrated and end up making it flat just so that it doesn't bother me. Ugh. My eye. So what I'll do is copy this one. If worst comes to worst, I could leave it like that, where it's kind of awkwardly slanted. If I do it like this, then, like I said, I'll have to come up with a way of filling this. You don't want anything poking out this way, so you can't line it up flush with that. I'm gonna try. If it doesn't work, I'll just leave it like the other way. Ease of not causing me more gray hairs than I already have. Yeah, 'cause I think these just, the angle's just gonna be wrong. And that's the trouble with these pieces when you're trying to patch them together. You have to consider, you know, what you have available, what you can do with it. Yeah, it's just not going to match up like I want. So I'm going to send that to create this as well. And we're going to go with the pin like this. Now, right off the bat, I see that this isn't going to work exactly like I'd like because it's too wide. I want the console to be stopped right at the end of the panel here. So I'm going to copy this. Oh, copy here. And then I'm going to size this down a bit. Oh, that might be too narrow. A little off. 3.5 maybe. This is what you get when you just kind of winging it, put things together. You come across these little issues. Maybe doesn't quite go your way. Something like not perfect, but it'll do. One thing I'm gonna have to here is lighting. Always so dark on this plot. I would love to be able to keep it so that it would stay light all the time, nice and bright. But that is not the case. We must make do. Let there be light. Okay. So now we need to duplicate on that on this side. So we'll just... Hey Samson, good to see you this morning. Okay, now did that go on the other side or this side?